Hey guys, how are you? Happy Tuesday. I am here a little bit later today on our Tip Tuesday here at Summer Sweet Shop. A little bit later, Nashville. I live in Nashville, just south of Nashville, and last night Nashville and East Nashville was hit by a tornado, like so tragically. A lot of people have lost their lives, lost their houses and stuff. So anyways, it's been a little chaotic day trying to get things to do for donations, for relief fund, and a bunch of me and a bunch of other cookiers, a lot of other cookiers are getting together, and we are making cookies for Nashville, like Nashville related ones, and we're selling them, or we're going to sell them, and all of those proceeds, 100% of the proceeds for mine will go to a relief fund. So stay tuned for that. Just been working on that today, but we're here making some cookie dough, and I'm going to get ready to make some Tennessee cookies for this. But I want to talk to you guys about your cookies that spread. So one of the number one questions that I get all the time is, how do you prevent your cookies from spreading? So I am here to tell you what the secret is. So a couple things. So first of all, I have my batch. All I have to do is add the last round of flour to my batch here. My recipe is all in my Cookie Academy. It is not open right now, but it will be on the 25th of March, so stay tuned for that. But I'm getting ready to do my last batch of flour to add to this double batch of cookies and cookie dough. And so listen, if you add too much flour to your batch, it will be dry and you will have cookie dough that is very crumbly. You don't want that. If you have too much butter and sugar, your cookie dough will be too soft. So you want to make sure that you measure out just right what your ingredients are. So I am going to measure out. I have 2 cups here of flour, and just a note that for my flour I only use King Arthur's all-purpose flour. So this is the only flour I use. It's a little bit more expensive, so I've been told. Haven't really researched it a lot, but this is the flour that I like, I use, and it just does the very best. So I just stick with what works, and that is what works for me. So highly recommend it, and that's what I use. So and set that aside so we have some space here. So I'm gonna turn on my mixer. Hopefully I don't get doused with flour. But we're gonna mix this up until we start seeing our cookie dough start coming away, pulling away from the bowl and forming one ball. So as you can see right now, it's pretty crumbly and it's all kind of confused. If I were to take it out right now, it would be a disaster. You're not gonna have good cookies if you do that. So I'm just letting it mix together really good. I believe it's on the low setting right now, so I'm going to speed it up probably here in a little bit. But King Arthur's is her favorite too. Yes. All right. So you see how it's pulling away from the bowl. I don't have cookie dough here on the outside, and so it's pulling away. Super nice. Sorry if it's too loud. This mixer is quite loud. Okay, so I'm going to make another note too for you guys. Baking powder. This makes a really big difference about your cookie spreading. If you use too much baking powder, your cookies will spread. So this is just what lifts them up and gives them that puff. But you want to make sure that you follow your recipe, whatever it is, that you follow the directions and do the right baking powder. And I also want to say it does make a difference of the brand of baking powder. This is the brand I use. It's the Clabber Girl. It's the name brand. It's not the store brand. So make sure that I don't have a lot of ingredients that I'm really specific on the name brand, but King Arthur's flour and the Clabber Girl baking powder, I am like 100% always use those 2 things. So again, I do what works. These are the 2 things that work. Butter, I just use store brand. Salt, I just use store brand. Vanilla, I'm just using store brand as well. So those are 2 big things. So your flour, make sure you measure really well and correctly, and then your baking powder, I like to use the Clabber Girl. I just feel like it's going to be the best, and it's going to give you the best results for your cookies. So, okay, talking fast here, moving fast. So let's get all of our cookie dough, not all of it, but we're going to get a lot of it out, and we are going to roll out some of our dough. So as you can see, the dough is not sticking to everything. So that is what we want. We don't want it to stick too much. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab a bunch here. And this is what we're going to roll with. Okay. So I know, oh, I need some more flour. So I'm going to put a little flour here in my little measuring cup. And I just do this right on the surface of my counter. And so part of that is I have granite countertops and they're cold. They're cold to the touch. So that is partly what keeps my dough nice and chilled. This recipe that I use, you do not have to have chilled dough, but I just I like to have my butter cold. I don't use room temperature. I know, totally taboo, but you know, just what works for me. And so I am gonna roll it out into a ball, and this is where I think that size matters. So I have a precision rolling pin. This is from the Cookie Countess, and it is a 3/8 of an inch thickness. So you have these like little cutouts here. 3/8 of an inch is what it's going to cut out, what it will roll out to be. This is great because it makes sure every cookie is the same size and thickness. And I truly, truly believe that having a thicker cookie is what keeps your cookies from spreading a ton. So if you're having trouble with spreading cookies, try a little bit thicker. You don't have to have a precision. Oh no, it says pause. Okay, so sorry about that. It's bad connection, it's telling me. So I'm gonna roll it out and stick it a little bit. So I'm going to add a little bit more flour. It's not gonna make a difference when you add flour like this. It never makes a difference on my cookies except for it sticking to the counter. So I don't want it to stick to the counter. So I've got it rolled out here. Same thickness all over with my precision rolling pin. Size does matter with your thickness. So now I'm gonna take my cutters and I'm gonna cut out my cookies, okay? So if you are having another idea, if you're having trouble with your cookies spreading, I want you to try and chilling your dough beforehand. So what you would do is you're gonna take your pan, you would just take your pan and put your cookies on your tray, on your pan, and you're just gonna pop them in your fridge. Pop them in your fridge for about 10 minutes, pull them out and put them right into the fridge, into the oven. And that might help with the spreading. I know I've done that before when my cookies spread at years ago at our old house, and that helped a lot. So try that. Also, next tip is your baking pan. So I only use Air Bake baking pans. These are the thin sheets that you can get at Bed Bath & Beyond. That is the only place I have found these sheets, but I believe that the pans matter. I bought some Wilton ones a few years ago and they were terrible. Like they burned my cookies so bad. But all I'm gonna do is I just place these, and I'm just picking these up. You can use a spatula if you don't want to touch the cookie or if you're worried about doing a different shape. But I just pick them up right off of here and put them right on my cookie sheet. So I'm using parchment paper as well. I do think that that helps with keeping your shape, and it keeps your cookies from getting totally brown underneath, and I highly recommend that. This is parchment paper. I think this is Xenology parchment paper that I really, really like. I don't have a full sheet. I measured wrong on these. They fit my other sheets that I decorate on, but you can get these for the perfect size sheet pan. This is a little bit bigger than a half sheet. Measure your oven before you order sheet pans because some ovens are different sizes and such. So you want to make sure that you get the right size and that you're using all the space. This sheet pan covers almost like end to end in my oven and front to back. So I want to make sure that I maximize all the space. I believe that I can bake multiple trays in my oven, but I really just bake one at a time because I roll them out and cut them and go, Sydney, stop. She's like shaking the coffee table. Anyways, so size matters. Do a big thick cookie. I was at CookieCon this past weekend and so many people commented on how thick my cookie is. I know, it takes more dough. But listen, I like a good cookie to icing ratio and I like a thick puffy icing. So get you 3/8 of an inch. That's what these are, and I definitely think that using the thicker cookie helps them to not spread. So Those are the tips. Let's go over them one more time. So you've got your flour. You want to make sure that you measure out your flour correctly. Too much flour and your cookies will be crumbly. If you're mixing and it is crumbly, try and just keep mixing and it should all come together. But you want to make sure that you use the right amount and not use too much. And that goes for the measuring of your butter and your sugar. You want to make sure you use the correct amount because baking is a science, guys. If you don't use those those exact measurements, your cookies may not come out to be the right way that you want them to. Baking powder, I only use Clever Girl, and flour, I use King Arthur's flour. So those are the ones that I highly, highly recommend. You can use other ones, I'm sure, and I know there's other cookie decorators that use other ones and their cookies are amazing. Those are just the ones that I recommend for my cookies. Next, you can chill. If you've got a problem with your cookies spreading, try chilling your dough for about 10-15 minutes in the fridge before popping them in the oven. I keep wanting to say fridge. Popping them from the fridge into the oven, about 10 minutes. And then size matters, guys. Like I just said, you want to make sure that you have 3/8 of an inch cookie. If you are having trouble spreading, definitely help. Life with kids. My kids have been home today and it's been bananas. Do you put vanilla in your cookie? Yes. I put usually about a teaspoon per batch in my vanilla. Okay, good. And then pans. Make sure that you're using really good pans. If you are having spreading issues, I highly recommend the Air Bake pans. That's the name of the brand. And I love them. Bed Bath & Beyond, they are fantastic. So that is what we have today. I will go back through, when this is over, I will go back through and answer any questions that you got. But I hope that was helpful. And it's just a little tip Tuesday. And I hope you guys are having a wonderful Tuesday. And I will look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place, next Tuesday. Thanks you so much, guys. Have a great one.